Here's a question. What products, features, or services should you be selling to your customers? Watch the rest of this video to find out. A key mistake a lot of small business owners make is that they want to try and cram as much value as they possibly can into their value or service offering to their customers. While on the surface, this might seem like a great approach because you're going to catch as many customers as possible, what you're actually doing is running the risk of confusing customers and putting them off of buying into your product value proposition. So what I want to do is take you through a very quick and simple model that I've put together that helps you answer that question. What are the key products or services that I should be selling to my customers? Now, I call this the Product Portfolio Priorities Matrix, or Triple P Matrix for short. Essentially, what this matrix does is it helps you outline and prioritize the key product or feature segments that you should be including in your product or service offering to your customers. A quick way I like to start this exercise is with a blank piece of paper. I'll divide this piece of paper into 4 quadrants. Then I'll draw 2 circles, small circle in the middle and a bigger circle outside of that. If you have some sort of highlighters or cookies, it might also help for you to color code each of these different segments of the matrix. Now, right in the heart of the matrix is your core product offering. In here, you want to list the key products that you need to sell to your customer in order to make sure that they are getting the value or the benefit out of making use of your product or service. In the next ring, you want to list your basic products or services. So these are the ones that aren't necessarily must-haves, but they are core before we start talking about all the other bells and whistles that come with your product and service offering. And lastly, in the space outside of the 2 circles, what you want to do is list all of your add-on products, all of the nice-to-have products that provide additional value to your customer with regards to your product or service offering, but aren't necessarily key to the offering itself. Now, if we had to put this in a simple example, I'd say think about this matrix as if you're building a house. The products that go into the middle of the matrix are those fundamentals that you need to have in place in order to get the value out of the proposition. So to use our example of building a house, this would be like your foundation, your structural walls, and your roof. Without these key components, you don't really have a house. So, as it relates to your business, make sure that you're including in those central quadrants all of the core elements of your product or service that your customer needs to actually make use of in order to get the value proposition that you're promising them. Now, in the sections of your next circle, what you want to do is think of all the basic things that typically come with your product or service that help to make sure that they are optimizing the value that they're getting out of it. But if those things aren't there, they can sort of get away with it. Going back to our example of building a house, these are things like your doors. Yes, a house needs an exit and an entrance, but you only really need one of them. However, if you're living in a bigger, fancier house where you can afford to do a bit more, you might have 2 or 3 doors that you're using as entrances and exits. Same thing as the internal walls. Again, if you've got a structure that has got a single room, that technically qualifies as a house, a home, or a shelter. But if you've got the resources to do more, you'd obviously want to partition internally. Get bedrooms, get a bathroom, have a separate kitchen space, as an example. Apply that same sort of thinking and mentality to your business to say, what are the things that really add value but aren't necessarily at the core or the heart of your product or value propositioning? And then lastly, we want to go to everything that's sitting outside of these 2 circles. These are your value adds or your quote-unquote nice-to-haves. Looking at your house, these could be things like the furniture. Now, we would all love to have that 100,000 Rand theater seating in our living room with a 100-inch LED Ultra UHD television, but honestly, most of us can do without it. You can be fine with a small 5,000 Rand couch and a 42-inch screen TV. In a lot of instances, you don't even need a TV. You could be using your phone to watch stuff, or you could read a book, or better yet, you could go the hell outside. These are all components of your product portfolio or service offering that are really nice to have, and it's more about adding additional value to your customer, but no one is going to die if they're not making use of those products or services. If you haven't already, or you feel like you've got a really cluttered product or service offering, you should really try this exercise out. It's going to do a lot to clarify your offering in terms of what you're taking to market, and also make it more actionable and easier for you to take stuff to market. And now you're not going to be overwhelmed trying to go live with 10 million different product features. You can really focus on the 3 or 4 that are going to be key to delivering the value promise that you're making to your potential customers or clients. Now, if you'd like to dig a little bit deeper into this process, or you need a little bit of help from a strategic point of view, I'm going to drop the link to my LinkedIn in the description down below. So please feel free to reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn, drop me a DM. We can have a chat and see how I can hopefully help you a little bit further.